Hi, welcome to my channel Semper Astra. My name is Maggie, and in today's video I would love to share with you my thoughts on YSL Black Opium Glitter. Black Opium Glitter was released in February 2025, and the most noticeable note in this fragrance is marshmallow, which is one of the base notes. In my opinion, it is not a marshmallow that you would take out straight of the packet, and it is more of the marshmallow that you would toast on a fire. At this point, I need to emphasize that in this fragrance there are no smoky notes. So when I am talking about toasted marshmallow, I am thinking more about the warmth and depth of marshmallow sweetness. In my opinion, this impression of toasted marshmallow is also impacted by the second base note, and this second base note is the note of black coffee, which adds to this fragrance even more depth, even more richness, and it gives this fragrance this vibe of complexity and richness. The next most noticeable note in this fragrance is yet another base note, and this is note of vanilla, which makes this scent very smooth, fluffy, soft, and I would even say slightly milky and powdery. The last note that is listed for this fragrance as a base note is patchouli. Personally, I don't smell any patchouli in this fragrance, but it is very important to note that patchouli is massively improving the projection and lasting power of fragrances, and this is why it is an important element of many creations. The heart note in this fragrance is orange blossom, which adds this flowery freshness and flowery lightness, and I would even say this brightness to the scent. I also believe that orange blossom gives this fragrance this wonderful positive energy. The top notes in this fragrance are pear, lemon, and green mandarin. In my opinion, one wouldn't be able to smell these notes as individual notes, but they are adding to the fragrance this fruity, citrusy lightness, brightness, airiness, and freshness, and they beautifully balance out against the sweetness of vanilla and marshmallow. And in my opinion, thanks to the freshness, brightness, and lightness of these fruity, citrusy notes, the notes of vanilla and marshmallow are not too cloying, not too sickly, and not too sweet. So on one hand, this fragrance is very warm, rich, deep, sweet, but at the same time it is light, fresh, airy, and bright. This doesn't make sense, but this is exactly what I think it is, and this is why I think it is so amazing. In terms of the parameters, I believe that this fragrance, I would say, is very good in terms of projection and lasting power. So I can easily smell this fragrance on my skin for 6 up to even 8 hours. And on my clothes, it lasts even for a couple of days. In terms of projection, for sure, for the initial several hours, people around us will be able to notice this fragrance, but because it is very, in a way, kind of well balanced and I would say elegant, although normally we don't associate sweet fragrances with elegancy, I would say it has vibes of elegancy, and because of that, I don't think it wouldn't offend anybody, it wouldn't particularly disturb anybody, and I don't believe it would irritate anybody. In terms of what occasions this fragrance is appropriate for, I would say that for sure this fragrance is a very good choice for nights out, for social occasions, for going out with friends. And for these evening occasions, I believe that we can wear it all throughout the year in warm and in colder temperatures. However, if we would like to wear this fragrance throughout the day, I believe that it would be most appropriate for more autumn and more winter and early spring months. And during these months, I believe that this fragrance is ideal again for all of the social occasions, for going out, running errands. And I'm also one of these people who enjoy wearing fragrances around the house because I enjoy my fragrances and I just like to wear them just for myself. And again, throughout the day, I think that probably warm months would be probably a little bit too warm for this fragrance. And in terms of occasions where I would be cautious with this fragrance, probably the only situations would be work, but this would depend a lot on the type of our work and also I would say on the conditions of our work. So if we are working in very small office with a lot of people sitting close to us, I believe that for initial few hours this fragrance may be slightly too intense and maybe slightly too sweet for work conditions. But again, I believe that it a lot depends on the type of our work and on the conditions of our work, as I already said. So in terms of the comparison of this fragrance with other black opium fragrances, I am convinced that it shares DNA with original black opium from 2014 and with many other fragrances from black opium family. However, I believe that it shares very little DNA with this original black opium and with other fragrances from black opium families. So if you are not a big fan of original black opium or from any other fragrance from this family, I would strongly encourage you to try black opium glitter because this fragrance is honestly very different. And if you are a big fan of original black opium or other fragrances in this family, I believe that it is still worth trying this perfume because I am sure that it wouldn't duplicate any of the other fragrances from this family. And if you are a person who is a bit cautious about fragrances that are on the sweet side, please don't be discouraged by the notes listed for this fragrance, because when I first read these notes, I was convinced that this fragrance would be for me too sweet, too cloying, and too sickly. And I was very, very positively surprised how deep, how rich it is. And as I probably already mentioned, normally I wouldn't associate fragrances that are on a sweet side with elegancy, but I think that this fragrance, although it is sweet, it has some elegant vibe. This fragrance always brings to my mind this, I would say, happy scene of summer evening when I am sitting around the fire with friends who are close to me and I'm toasting marshmallow, and it always reminds me of happy, friendly, positive atmosphere of happiness, coziness, laughter. This fragrance always puts a smile on my face. It always uplifts my mood, but at the same time, it makes me feel very, very cozy and in a way calm. As you guess from my words, I am a big fan of this fragrance, and I hope that my review encouraged you to test it. In case you wanted to buy a full bottle, I just wanted to show you the box. And before you buy a full size bottle, be careful to read the name very carefully and make sure that it says Black Opium Glitter, because in the past there were some limited edition of Black Opium, eau de parfum from 2014, and they were released in the bottle that had very similar design, but the scent was the original Black Opium scent. So it is very important to read the labels, because the design sometimes can be very similar and very confusing. I hope that you enjoyed this review and you found it interesting in some ways, and I will see you soon in one of my next videos. Bye bye!